Hello, and thanks for joining us on Tech 24. This week, we're dedicating this entire program to a very special guest, and you might have heard of him. His name is Neil Harbisson. He's an artist, an activist, but also he's the first human being to have been officially recognized as a cyborg. Neil Harbisson, thanks for being with us today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
So growing up in Spain, you were diagnosed as a child with total color blindness. That means that you see the world in different shades of gray. But that doesn't really bother you at all. But in 2004, you decided to actually explore a little bit more colors. And you've developed a technology that doesn't help you see colors, but it actually helps you hear them. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But first, can you tell us, what is a cyborg? What does it mean to be a cyborg?
Well, cyborg comes from two words, cybernetics and organism. So cyborg is the union between both. And there's different types of unions. So it can be a psychological union, it can be a neurological union, or it can be a physical union, a biological union. In my case, it's a biological union because there's a cybernetics in my body, also a psychological one because the software and my brain are united. And I feel that I am a cyborg, so I identify myself as a cyborg. And also neurological, because my brain has been modified due to this union. But,
so you are the technology?
I am technology, yes. I don't feel that I'm using or wearing technology. I feel that I am technology. And I feel that the antenna is not a device, it's a body part. And I feel that the software is an extension of my senses.
So tell us more about this antenna. Walk us through. How does it work exactly?
It detects color. So
Okay.
it detects the light frequency of color. And then each color has its own light frequency. Red is low frequencies, and then orange a bit faster, and then blue is much, much faster. So the frequency keeps varying depending on the color. And these frequencies make vibrations in my skull.
Right.
And then through bone conduction, I can hear the sound of color. So it's actually a new sense, and the secondary effect of this sense, the vibration, is that I hear the sound of color.
So how many frequencies can you hear?
Lots, because it goes beyond human sight. It includes infrareds and ultraviolets, so it goes beyond the colors that human sight can see. And also I have another implant, which is internet connection, that allows me to receive colors from external devices or from satellites. So it also allows me to hear the colors from
So people
space.
from another part of the world, like let's say someone in the US right now, can send you
Colors.
a picture.
Yes,
So
they
a
can
picture
send
with
me-
colors.
Or live images. So there's 5 people, 5 friends that have the right to send colors directly into my head, one in each continent. So I feel that I have an eye in each continent. And then if there's a sunset in Australia and the friend from Australia wants to send me the colors of the sunset, then I can receive directly these images, and then I feel that I'm in front of a sunset.
So you're not just a cyborg, you're also an augmented person because you can see further than just any human being.
But I don't see myself as augmented. I see myself equal to other animal species. That's why I like being called organism, not human, because that's why cyborg, I really feel comfortable define myself as a cyborg, because I then consider myself an organism, so in the same level as other animal species. And if we compare our senses with other animals, then sensing ultraviolet or infrared is completely normal. There's so many other animal species that can sense these colors. There's so many other senses that we would find supernatural, but they are actually not. They exist in other species. So
Is that why you chose the antenna?
Yes, also the antenna is a body part that exists in other animal species. It's not something like aliens. It exists, and I think we'll start seeing more and more people with new body parts and also new senses that are actually inspired by other animal species.
So you think that these implants are going to become a commonplace?
Yes, I think we're now in a transition. We are now getting used to wearing technology or being psychologically united to technology. I think most of the people that are listening to us now, they are already psychological cyborgs. I'm sure that when their mobile phone is running out of battery, most of them say, I'm running out of battery, instead of saying, my mobile phone is running out of battery. So this is a clear sign of feeling
The
that
transition that's
yes,
happening.
that we are already talking about technology in first person, so we already feel that we are technology. And the next stage is that the generation that is now growing up, they will actually become the technology, and we'll stop having this fear of uniting biologically with the technology that we are constantly using.
Because some people still feel, I mean, Neil, do you understand this fear that people may have that this is not a natural evolution to have technological implants?
I think it is very natural. I think that's what defines us as humans, is that we are always trying to extend ourselves in different ways. Like, that's why we try to extend our knowledge, we try to extend our spirituality, we try to extend our existence, and extending our senses is part of this exploration, and we haven't been able to do this ever in history. Now we can actually extend our senses by applying technology in the body, and this will actually allow us to perceive reality in a very, very deep way that we are not perceiving right now.
Everywhere you look, you hear a sound because you see a color. I'm sure a lot of people ask you this question, but sometimes don't you feel like the world is becoming too noisy? Don't you want to unplug? Like, can you unplug? Can you take this antenna off? You can't. No. It's not a wearable.
No, you cannot take it off, and you cannot stop it. It's like any other body part. You can never switch off your hearing or your smell, or even if you block it, it's still there. So I could block it, but it's still on. It's always on.
And you developed this antenna not because you wanted to get rid of this color blindness, because you didn't get rid of the color blindness. It's because you wanted to gain a new sense, right? So what stopped you from implanting something else, another technology? It's been 10 years since you've had this antenna. Why aren't you implanting something else? And if you did, what would you implant?
Well, I am now using internet, which is something I didn't use before. So for the last 2 years, I'm starting to use the internet as a sense, which is, I think, the next stage of internet. We've been using internet as a tool for many, many years now. Instead of using it as a tool, we can start using it as a sense. And in a way, we can start separating our body from our senses by using the internet to explore space.
And we're going to take a look at the app that you created to help other people understand what it is that you feel as a cyborg, or at least try to understand what you're feeling as a cyborg in Test 24, coming up right now. So Neil, we downloaded your application. It's called Cyborg. So let's try this together. So here we go. So I have patches of color.
Some people's lips sound like this, and it's very high pitched. It's usually between E and F, so it's high pitched.
This is pink. I'm going to place the phone over the color. This is another color, so the sound has changed.
Green is in the middle of the spectrum, so this is around A, the note A.
And what about this one?
And blue is higher than green, but lower than pink, and it's around C.
So this enables us to try to understand what you hear when you take a look at all these pictures. Is it what you hear?
Well, I feel color, because this actually creates a vibration in my head that then becomes a sound, and it's an inner sound. So this is an outer sound. It sounds different. What I hear is a more profound sound and more subliminal.
You don't hear with your ears. You hear with
I hear with my bones. So it's a different type of sense that is really difficult to explain. It's a vibration that becomes a sound. If I was completely deaf, I could still differentiate colors, because I feel the color in my skull.
And now I want to have your opinion as an artist. I brought you two different paintings. So there's this first one. I want to see what you feel when you take a look at this painting.
It looks very noisy, but actually color-wise, it's completely silent. It's very, very silent. Maybe there's a soft sound of G, because a very unsaturated yellow, but it's very, very silent. So
and it's silent because there's black.
Yes, black and white are silent, but it's hard to find pure black and white. I would put this painting somewhere where I need to be concentrated, where I don't need distractions. So
maybe in an office.
Maybe, yes.
Let's try another one. It's a completely different piece.
Yeah, this one's very musical. There's many different notes. You can hear G, C, A, E. It's a very loud as well, because it's very saturated. So right. You could hear this painting from the other end of the house.
There are indeed a lot of different colors there, and but is it nice to hear?
Yes, I like it. It sounds a bit melodic, so it's ta-dun, ta-ta-ta-dun. So there's a bit of a pattern there. So depending on how you look at it, you can hear the melody.
And let's talk about the other ways in which you're making your art. So you've done different things. You've done sound portraits of people.
Well, now instead of drawing someone's face, I can actually write down the notes of someone's face. So I like getting close to someone's face, and then I listen to the sound of the eyes, the lips, the skin, and the hair, and then I send them an MP3 of their face so that they can listen to themselves. And each person sounds different.
So maybe we can take a listen to some of these portraits. And you've also painted popular music pieces like The Queen of the Night by Mozart. Did you do other pieces that you've liked particularly?
Yeah, so the secondary effect of hearing colors, that when I listen to music, I also feel colors. So I can paint what I hear, and I like painting whatever I like hearing. So it's, yes, I've done, I've done Justin Bieber as well, which is, I was curious to analyze his music, and it's...
Is it childish?
Actually, the first ones that he did were more pink and yellow, and now he's changing to a more variety of colors. So it's actually interesting also to see the evolution of a musician through color spectrums. And you'll see that Mozart, for example, was always, during all his lifetime, there was always a predominance of yellow, whereas other artists keep changing and they keep evolving, and then they end up with a very different variety of colors.
And tell us about the color concerts. What is that all about?
Well, now instead of playing an instrument, I can play by looking at things. So instead of playing the piano, I can play music by looking at different colored objects. So I usually go to a supermarket and then I choose which notes I like. So there's many different products with different colors. So I choose different notes and then I put them on stage and then I look at them. I amplify the sounds of my head and then I create music through the colors that I'm looking at. So it's color concerts, but now I also can connect to satellite, to NASA's International Space Station, that they have a live stream, so then I can project through sound the colors from space, and it's very, very noisy up there because there's so many ultraviolets and also infrareds that gives a color range and a sound range that I don't really find in supermarkets.
Thank you so much, Neil, for being
Thank
with
you.
us today. It was a pleasure. And thank you for watching. See you next time.